Imagine you're a kid. Your favorite actor is Adam Sandler, and one day after school, you're browsing the TV guide instead of doing homework. On the guide, you come across a picture of your favorite actor holding a blue remote and are immediately entranced. It's the Sandman in a motion picture you've never seen before. You press play, and the movie is just starting. You settle in for what will surely be another Sandman comedy, like 50 First Dates or Billy Madison or even Happy Gilmore. Yet, as the movie goes on, something changes. The Sandman isn't just being the funny guy. Sure, you get the jogger slow motion gag.
You're on it now, yeah.
Or the Barney joke in the car.
Oh, there's Barney.
I love you, you love me. That jogger had giant boobies.
But now there's a different tone. Why are Adam and Kate fighting now? Who's Dr. Bergman? The Sandman got his promotion. He's a big shot at his company now. That's supposed to be a good thing, right? Next thing you know, another 16 years go by, and he's divorced, had cancer, and his father died. How come this Adam Sandler movie is making me sad? And before you know it, the movie's over? As a child, you're sat there, not knowing what to do with your life. And that was me in 2011 or so when I was 11, seeing this for the first time. What is Click, and, well, why do I keep coming back to it? Before really delving into the very jarring experience I had with this movie, and why I have to rave about it, there's one big blocker in the road. His name is Adam Sandler. The Sandman is one of those actors who divides pretty much everyone. Some people loathe him, others adore him, and the rest are neutral to say the least. He isn't the guy that pleases everyone with his performances, but why does that matter when it comes to Click? When you've made a career out of goofy comedies and borderline, what some would call, immature humor, something like Click is very different, put bluntly. Adam's movies leading up to this film were all pretty much comedies, aside from Punch Drunk Love and maybe Spanglish if you saw it. You've got the classic 90s run with Wedding Singer, Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and Big Daddy. Afterwards, you still have the comedies of Mr. Deeds, Anger Management, and 50 First Dates, but then you got Click. The Sandman's filmography is something that no one can agree on, because looking at reviews from anything before and even after Click, it tells the same story. He's never the actor that people like to like, which depending on how you view him will likely determine how you view this video. I happen to really like Adam Sandler. As I said earlier, he was, and honestly probably still is, my favorite actor. Here's my proof. This is from a 5th grade writing assignment that I found while my parents were moving. Sandler's career in the eyes of critics and even viewers has been a road of ups and downs. Yet according to him, there are no downs. I'd have to agree too. For someone who doesn't even religiously follow the Sandman's work, he never seems unhappy with the production of his work, which is a very different story for how critics and moviegoers respond to those productions. I'm very specifically talking about Jack and Jill.
I have a gun! Oh my god! See, I live alone.
When I started my deep dive into this movie, just to see what others thought about it, I was very surprised that there were those who just couldn't stand it. Sure, everyone has their opinions, especially nowadays, but I had always been under the impression that Click was a relatively enjoyed movie. This is also because I didn't fully realize that Adam Sandler was such a divisive guy. His humor doesn't land for everyone, and yet his acting has never been called into question for me personally. When Uncut Gems came out a few years back, I remember hearing people rave about his acting ability, as if he hadn't had those same chops for years or even ever.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
I saw Uncut Gems, thought it was great, but there's something so much more personable or relatable about his performance as Michael Newman in Click. Which doesn't mean I think Uncut Gems is bad, I just prefer what he has to offer in the latter. And that leads me back to Adam Sandler himself. If you type his name into the search bar on YouTube, you'll find dozens of videos talking about him. They range from paradoxes, effects, and funny moments. He's one of those guys that no one has a collectively agreed upon opinion of. Critics expect a masterpiece from comedy films. Moviegoers can't decide if he's funny or annoying, and his fans are always in his corner. And all of these micro or macro conversations about his films, the comedy he uses, or even his quote-unquote highs and lows, there's something constantly overlooked. The dude can just act. but he also fully understands when and when not to. He's got the script down for himself.
Ray who? Ray Romano, the guy from Everybody Loves Raymond?
I give a fuck what show he's on. I'll fuck this motherfucker up, man.
For every Uncut Gems, there's 3 to 5 other movies where he's having fun with his friends. His production company was literally created to employ his friends. And what's better than getting to fuck around with your best buds while getting paid? We'd all do it too.
Grow up, will you?
Oh, look at him now.
But Sandler's career as an actor hasn't ever, especially to me, been about his inability to act. I've always viewed him as a solid actor, and at one point almost went down that path because of him. Instead, I did music, which somehow translates to Star Wars What Ifs.
Whoa! Adam Sandler just came up with it.
Apparently. My point is, he's got the chops when he needs them. He can deliver incredibly human and emotional performances, but also knows when to continue his classic Sandler shtick for the laughs. Luckily for us, Click covers both of those bases. Now that we've talked about the Sandman, we can actually look at this movie. And I'm happy to announce I'm not making a 4-hour video about a barely 2-hour long movie. Click starts out just like any other Sandler film. You've got some 70s or 80s song playing in the opening sequence. The type of music synonymous with the music you hear while building IKEA with your dad on the weekend. There's a little gesture from Michael of not knowing which remote to use inside of his own house, and oh, what's this? The first acknowledgement of the Sandler verse?
The O'Doyle's got a universal remote control. One clicker controls everything. Makes life a lot easier for old people like you.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it because I don't know the next time I'll be making a video about the Sandman. Before the age of cinematic universes like the DCEU, Transformers, and I don't know, Dark Universe, there was the Sandlerverse.
I do not say blah blah blah.
Yeah, I used dead universes because I thought it'd be funny. The Sandlerverse, in layman's terms, is a theory that every single Adam Sandler movie takes place within the same universe, therefore creating the greatest cinematic universe to ever exist. As just referenced by that clip,
The O'Doyle's got a universal.
the O'Doyles from Billy Madison are also in Click. Later on in this movie, Eric Lemonsoff, one of the executive workers at Adam's Architect Place, is a name used in Grown Ups, Murder Mystery, Pixels, Jack and Jill, The Wedding Singer, and You Don't Mess with Zohan. As it turns out, Lemonsoff was Adam's old college roommate, and it's a tribute to him. Anyways, thought that was a little thing cool to talk about. On with the movie. Oh look, a dog humping a duck. Yep, it's an Adam Sandler movie. No one saw that coming. Literally no one saw that coming. And you jump straight into the day-to-day life of Michael Newman. His neighbor's kid is a prick. He gets stuck in traffic for an hour and a half. His assistant asks to use the bathroom like she's in middle school, and he's got a dick of a manager who's in a meeting with Prince Hubbada Hubbada,
Respect Prince Hubbada Hubbada.
played by brown-faced Rob Schneider. Yeah, this movie's just a little edgy, even for 2006, but well.
Basically, you want me to design you an Arabian hoochie house?
Oh, and now he's late for his son's swim meet. And as it turns out, Michael happens to kind of also be a dick. Speaking of, here's Sean Austin in a Speedo.
Loose skin and old balls. Gross.
We get to learn how Michael's interactions are with his family, and how they view the way he is parenting and husbanding around them. It's a quick look into what his family life is like and how he's influencing his children and neglecting his family. Newman believes that he's working hard and making a positive change in the lives of those around him, but he keeps neglecting the people who matter most. And now he must go to Bed Bath and literally beyond after smashing a large fry from Wendy's. Inside of literal Beyond, we meet Morty. He's Christopher Walken in his spare time.
Todd, that's good. Tell that mean ocean.
He's also singing Be the Angel of My Prayers, and Christopher Walken also so happens to be the angel of my prayers.
I'm a very powerful man.
The first thing Morty, like mortality or mortgage, The first thing Morty says to Newman is that fast food shortens life. As we eventually learn, Morty is the angel of death. I find these little subtle moments to be perfectly placed, especially in around the first 15 minutes of this movie. Did you know Bed Bath & Beyond is actually the warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant is hidden? Michael now has control over the Universal Remote, and he can have some fun.
Holy motherfucker!
We get a couple little moments, and before we get to the actual intricacies of the Universal Remote, we get the best scene in cinematic history.
No, the menu at the Red Lobster. Yes, on the remote.
Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. Rest in peace, James Earl Jones.
Decision. Well, that was exactly.
I forgot he was in this movie, but love you forever, King. As I said before, this is your classic comedy part of an Adam Sandler movie. It's weird because this movie is actually really pretty funny. Like, especially funny for a Sandler flick. Adam and Christopher also need to do another movie together because their chemistry is so good. Like, I know Morty is the angel of death and all, but he's such a joy in these little flashback scenes. It kind of like truly tells you that he cares about Michael, and it's very wholesome. Also, this delivery.
How the heck did he do that?
Wow.
Michael starts to use the remote and he skips chapters, missing out on a great family event, and eating with his family, and an argument with Kate Beckinsale, and then he skips sex with the same person. We're literally watching a tragedy unfold, people. Another scene with Adam and Christopher.
By the way, your wife, absolutely gorgeous.
She is, isn't she?
Perfect face. Tight, rockin' body.
You okay?
And another couple skips. The Sandman then returns home with new bikes and a crazy expensive purse, after believing he secured the role of partner. And then our comedy transforms into something else. A serious tonal shift befalls our main character, as he does something Morty warns him against. There's a quote from Morty that I really happen to like.
The pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but when it gets there, the end of the day, it's just cornflakes.
And it's placed as a joke because we're still kind of in the comedy part of the movie, but that very rapidly changes.
Right now! I hate you! Are you deaf? Move it!
Oh look, is that Cal Kestis? Before he knows it, more than a year of his life goes by. Remember Dr. Bergman? I don't, and neither does Michael Newman. As it turns out, a year of your life is a long time, and Michael learns that truth. Donna is completely closed off from Michael, rightly so, and now Michael needs to understand what the remote learned about him.
This is not.
He tries to get rid of the remote through various methods, but as Morty said before, the remote is non-refundable.
Is this a stick-up, or are you just happy?
With the resolution to change his future and save his relationship with Kate fucking Beckinsale, and be a better parent, he is thrown 10 years into the future, because at the end of the day, he still wants the next promotion internally. And before he can stop the remote, it sends him off 10 years into the future.
No! I don't want a promotion! No!
Also, there's a crazy ass deleted scene inside of this apartment right after the 10-year time gap where he's having a foursome with his old assistant.
Where the hell am I? What are you guys doing here? And how did I become a hippo?
Hey, can we quit talking? I got some morning wood I need to burn.
Oh, God, no.
Anyways, another piece of his life is gone. A new adjustment that he needs to learn. The first of which is that he's got the Ryan Reynolds fat suit from Just Friends on.
BFF.
I swear.
I don't know if that's true or not, but Adam and Ryan look pretty wild inside of fat suits.
You would take me like to Pilates like you said you would. People wouldn't think I was Rosie O'Donnell.
Before Michael can even adjust to this 10-year gap, he stops the remote from sending him into the future again, due to an argument he was having with the woman he divorced. But he's knocked on his head and sent 6 years into the future, where Michael thinks it's all been a dream. He's hopeful that he's been returned to his normal life, but nope, he's had cancer, a heart attack, and was unhealthy for 6 full years. As it also turns out, this is the year 2023, and honestly it's pretty on par for what we got in 2023, can't really be upset at that. But again, the comedic aspect vanishes further, and now...
Grandpa died, Dad. He died a while back now.
We learn that Michael's father passed away. It hits even harder knowing that Adam's actual dad passed away shortly before this movie. We lose every facet of what was a comedy, and we see the true story underneath it all. Michael wasn't there for his father's death. He wasn't present inside of his own body the last time he saw him, and even worse, He didn't even say he loved his dad the last time he saw him. It's a devastating twist, and Henry Winkler's death hits like a freight train. Whether you've lost a parent or haven't, it's a scene that resonates throughout the rest of the movie, and even after the film ends. Between the shock of the actual tonal shift and the devastating outburst here, where you can literally hear that he broke his father's heart, it doesn't end there, because this movie wants you to soak in it, as the moment is replayed over and over again.
I love you, son.
I love you too, Dad.
Okay, now that we're all crying, did you know that Christopher Walken is the angel of death?
The angel of death.
Michael didn't, and now he's at his son's wedding under twin towers but shinier. Wow, this place is a vibe. Looks like things are actually going better. He showed up for his son's wedding, and he gets to have a nice moment with his mom and dance with his ex-wife. And what's that? Another heart attack. I think the fact that this heart attack is triggered by Samantha calling Sean Austin dad is brilliant. And on top of all of this, Christopher Walken is dancing on stage, reminding Michael that at the end it's just cornflakes. Michael is fortunate enough to wake up in the following 36 hours, but there's something more. His son, Big Ben, is going to cancel his honeymoon, following in his father's footsteps. It's at this point where your anxiety starts to kind of raise, realizing what kind of impact Michael had on Ben. But the Sandman isn't done pulling his punches. Michael gets out of his bed, and this begins one of the all-time scenes in the Sandler-verse. Morty continues to warn Michael, telling him to stop, that it doesn't have to end now. The score picks up and Michael runs out into the rain and falls before reaching his son. But he's not done fighting yet. Literally peak cinema right here. When his family reaches him, he finally gets the message out.
Family comes first.
Family comes first. After throwing it all away, Michael gives his final statements to those surrounding him. Morty tells Michael about the note in his pocket, and his life comes to an end. I mean, this movie never fails to just ruin my day. I have tears I got literal tears coming down my face while I'm writing this script. It's a mess. But we're back in Bed Bath & Beyond. Yet, I do want to pull your attention towards this sign. Because apparently he was having a crazy dream. I don't really think it's just a dream cop-out. It seems a little more sophisticated than that. But the first thing Michael says is he's just getting started, and it's such an important message and moment as he spins his way out to his car. The first thing he does is rush to his parents' house to tell them how much he loves them. The next thing, he's back home, wakes everyone up and starts a fake argument with Donna. But then she realizes it's not real. It's so wholesome, and get a couple jokes thrown in. However, there's something else. The dream wasn't necessarily a dream. It really happened, or at least we're meant to believe it does, because the universal remote is sitting on the counter right behind him. He now has the choice to keep the remote or get rid of it, and without hesitating, it's gone. Movie over. And right there explains why, as a kid, when I saw this movie, I was left with nothing but confusion. Click hits all the right marks for me, and honestly during my rewatch, I still found it funny and holding up. I certainly agree with a lot of comments on the movie that I had seen before writing this video. The fact that the switch up from comedy to drama is extremely out of nowhere. But I also don't see this as a critique, at least not from my perspective. The story almost demands that the tone shift happens so rapidly, and to me that makes sense. Realistically, the buildup of the story makes the jumping or skipping around seem triumphant. After all, when we go into this movie, losing a year of our lives seems so small. Like Adam says, a couple haircuts, a few arguments, and whatnot. So sacrificing that time so you can reach your next milestone seems like a no-brainer. And for those of us in our early 20s, especially those without children or partners, this also seems like a no-brainer. Kill a year of your life so that you can fast forward to the next big thing and go from there. I think, honestly, that's a very underlying message in this movie for the younger part of the audience, to not try and speed through life. Using the comedic leverage and click makes everything work perfectly, for me at least.
No, the menu at the Red Lobster, yes, on the remote.
When I rewatched just now, I pretended like I hadn't ever seen the film before, which I do a lot. Now, if this is your first time on PPC, you wouldn't know that I'm obsessive. So I've probably, in all actuality, seen this movie more than 100 times. which honestly is what made this rewatch specifically so special for me. A lot of these little moments in the first 30 minutes of the movie or so are just setups for eventual revelations. Donna tells Michael that he'll
stop with the yodels or you're gonna wake up 400 pounds one day.
Or even Morty singing Be Anything But Be Mine by Irving Gordon. These little flashes or hints at what's to come are so hidden under everything in Adam Sandler's goofy comedy movie that you almost likely wouldn't even pick up on them in a rewatch. It's in this that having the dramatic aspect of the film drop in on you like an anvil from Looney Tunes is so brilliant. You're sitting there laughing along if you're laughing, and everything is fine. Michael gets his promotion. Perhaps you're wondering where the story goes next. What will the next gag be? And instead of another gag, you're left with the name Dr. Bergman.
And who the hell's Dr. Bergman?
All of your preconceived notions about this film being a ha-ha Adam Sandler flick start to dissipate, and all of a sudden, you're in a therapist's office. When the remote starts reacting, that's when the comedy really vanishes. This kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about Uncut Gems. Yeah, you thought I said that for no reason. Nah, it's called a setup. There's something about Academy-level performances that can sometimes take the relatability out of something. No, this isn't a hot take about actors not doing whatever, but earlier I said the guy from Uncut Gems wasn't as relatable. That's because I don't happen to own a jewelry shop, and I also don't happen to screw over the Jewish mafia. And I'm guessing you aren't either. If you are, get me the goods. Just kidding. But point being, I happen to just enjoy different types of movies at different times. And comedy usually wins over the more serious, watch every frame with your full attention flicks. This is mostly because I don't watch TV and I usually have movies on in the background. But Adam's performance in Click is why I always knew he had the acting chops of an Academy-level actor. He displays emotions and panic as any one of us would share in if our life was rapidly skipping by. That's kind of the irony in the message though, it's already rapidly skipping by without a remote. Because at the end of the day, there's something about Michael Newman that's relatable. I too have considered skipping through traffic, or an event I didn't want to be at, or getting through a journey that would take more time than not. It's the brilliance of this movie that Michael had been skipping around life before the remote.
You were fast-forwarding through your life long before you ever met me.
There's a lot of subtle notions of Michael subconsciously turning off his mind to get through things. You can relate to each aspect of Michael's thinking. When he actually awakens to the idea of skipping through his life and missing out on a year, he realizes how big his kids got. He notices the difference in Donna. He reacts to the dog's death. It's clear that at the end of the day, he didn't want to skip all the time or lose out on his life, but he got into the cycle of life. When this movie identifies itself as a drama after the first full hour or so of comedy, it really makes every minute feel necessary. Each moment in Michael's life shown isn't there for no reason. They indicate these little intricacies of our lives that we don't even think about. Skipping sickness, showers, intimate moments with those around us, and choosing our careers over those we love. Simple little choices that redefine Michael's life because he had programmed the remote to skip through them too. The death of Henry Winkler is an all-time heavy hitter, and there's not a whole lot to say about that because Adam says it all with his performance. He lost his father before filming this movie, and every ounce of wishing to have said the right thing during their final interaction was perfectly acted. It's insane how the tonal shift really separates both acts of the movie. Especially that final scene in the rain, I could rave about that for hours because it's just so beautiful. But realistically, that takes me away from the movie itself, to say why it's so special, and why it's truly an underrated piece in my eyes. It's not common for me to come away from an Adam Sandler movie to be like, damn, maybe I should change my life around. When I was 11, I somehow managed to come away from a movie thinking, damn, 5th grade is some real shit, I gotta get it together. I'm sure there will be those in the comments ready to throw down with me.
You're sick! You're sick! Why would you do that?
But truth be told, this movie has such an important and specific message. As a side note, there's a plot hole that, with the universal remote, I would absolutely abuse. Imagine just being able to pause all the time, finish all your work, and then have the rest of the day to do whatever. That would be a real good use of the universal remote.
Do you understand me? Yes, I understand you!
To actually care about minute moments of your life and cherish everything those moments have to offer is such a lovely message. There's of course the deeper stuff, like don't skip fights with your wife, or choose work over your kids. But this movie, if I'm being completely honest, has had a profound effect on my life. Perhaps that's why I care to be so kind towards it, or forgive the constant dog humping a duck gag. Click, though, had me considering things that were far beyond my cognitive understanding from a young age. The great pursuit to find completion in life, to never take for granted the little things, and to never skip moments in chase of a goal. By profound effect, I had seen this scene dozens of times and considered the reality of not seeing one of my parents.
Look amazing.
Oh, Michael, you haven't kissed me like that since you were a little boy.
It's a moment from the movie that stuck with me, and I'm grateful it had, because I held this so deeply in the back of my mind that it was ingrained within my very psyche. And now that my own mom has less than a year of life left, I'm eternally grateful for the inspiration this movie gave me to always hug my mom like I did when I was a kid. And despite how deep things just got, it doesn't just apply to that, but to every facet of my life. When I'm stuck in traffic, I try to find something worthwhile to enjoy.
I was so free. So free. I don't want you anymore. I don't want it.
And maybe I gotta work on that, considering Virginia drivers clearly drive me insane. But in the back of my mind, in the center of my heart, this movie continues to influence me. I do wonder if there are others out there that have had such profound feelings or thoughts about the most minute things because of this movie. Click's resonating messages have saved me from pointless arguments. They've kept me grounded when searching for milestones, because enjoying the journey is more important than the end. And most importantly, it's reminded me to cherish those around me, because life sometimes can just be too short. And I am eternally grateful for the 11-year-old version of me that turned this movie on all those years ago. If you want to see more from me or happen to like me, you know what to do. Otherwise, I love you all and spread the love and happy holidays. I'm sure this is coming out around then.
No, the menu at the Red Lobster, yes, on the remote.